Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a Gym Knight FTK deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Fabian. And this deck is an extremely powerful deck that can actually win on the very first turn, which is absolutely insane. With key combo pieces like Black Garden, being able to special summon a bunch of monsters to the field makes it really easy to use the effect of Lady Lapis Lazuli to go in for game. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And definitely give Fabian some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Gym Knight Lapis. Gym Knight Lapis is an awesome 3-out that you always want to have in your opening hand. But we have a bunch of ways to get to this card in the deck, like Unexpected Die, your copies of Gym Armadillo, and even Rescue Rabbit make it super easy to make sure that you have a copy of this card in your hand, so you can fusion summon into Lady Lapis Lazuli. We then play 2 copies of Gym Knight Tourmaline. This card is a good combo piece in the deck, which is why I'm playing 2 copies of this card, especially with how many monsters in this deck work with normal monsters. This card lets you fusion summon into some extremely powerful monsters in the extra deck, which is why we're playing 2 copies of this card. I then play 3 copies of Gym Knight Quartz. Gym Knight Quartz is a really good 3 in the deck that if your opponent controls a monster, you can discard this card to set a fusion continuous spell directly from your deck. Also, it locks you into Gym Knight fusion monsters for the rest of the turn, which is not that big of a deal because usually we're going to summon out Garden Rose Maiden before we activate this card to get to Black Garden, but that is an effect you want to watch out for because after you use that effect, you can't go in for Garden Rose Maiden. But it's really good to be able to set your copy of Scatter Fusion on the field. And this card also has a bonus effect that if this card is used as a material for the fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or banished, then you can add a Gym Knight monster from your graveyard back to your hand, which will help you go in for more fusion plays. I then play 3 copies of Gym Knight Obsidian. This card is an insanely powerful 3 on the deck. And if this card is sent from your hand to the graveyard, then you can target a level 4 lower normal monster in your graveyard and special summon that target, which is an awesome effect with our 5 normal monsters we play in the deck. I then play 3 copies of Gym Knight Lazuli. Gym Knight Lazuli is an awesome card in the deck because if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, then you can target a normal monster in the graveyard and add that target back to your hand, which is an awesome effect to be able to just get some of your monsters back out of the graveyard to keep going in for your fusion plays. I then play 3 copies of Gym Armadillo. Gym Armadillo is an awesome normal summon in the deck and actually the Stratos of the deck with the ability that when this card is normal summon, you can add any Gym Knight monster from your deck to your hand, which is an awesome effect to be able to get to any of your Gym Knight monsters. I then play 2 copies of Crystal Rose. Crystal Rose is a great extender in the deck that has the ability that once per turn, you can send a Gym Knight monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card's name becomes the sent monster's name until the end phase of the turn. And if this card's in the graveyard, then you can banish a fusion monster from your graveyard to special summon this card in defense position, which is a good effect to be able to just get an additional monster on the field to be able to keep climbing with your fusion monsters. I then play 2 copies of Brilliant Rose. Brilliant Rose is a great 2 in the deck that is always treated as a Gym Knight card, and you can discard a Gym Knight monster or a Melodious monster to be able to special summon this card from your hand, which is an awesome effect to instantly get this card out on your side of the field. But we don't play any Melodious cards in this deck, so this card is only going to be discarding Gym Knight monsters to be able to summon out this card. It also has the ability that basically once per turn, you can send a Gym Knight or a Melodious monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, and until the end phase, this card's name, type, and attribute become the same as the original name, type, and attribute of the monster sent to the graveyard to activate this effect, which does come in handy every so often with this card. We then play 3 copies of Adamancipator Researcher. Researcher is a really good card in the deck, but we're basically using this card to go in for our copy of Garden Rose Maiden because it is a tuner monster. But this card is really good because if you control a rock monster, you can instantly special summon this card from your hand, and then during your main phase, you can excavate the top 5 cards from your deck, and if you do, you can special summon 1 excavated level 4 or lower non-tuner rock monster and place the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order, which is an awesome effect to be able to summon out an additional monster just by special summoning this card out to the field. We then play 2 copies of Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a really good 2-of in the deck just to be able to get 2 normal monsters out on your side of the field, which is a really awesome effect. Being able to special summon out Tourmaline or your other Gym Knight normal monsters in the deck is just really, really good. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is so we can get to our copy of Black Garden extremely easily in this build. So this card is a definite 1-of in the deck. I'm then playing a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a really good 1-of just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're trying to go in for the FTK. I then play 2 copies of Adamancipator Signs. This card is basically a monster reborn for your rock monsters, but it does have a bonus effect, which is why I'm playing 2 copies of this card instead of 1 copy of this and a monster reborn. And that bonus effect is that you get to target a rock monster in the grave and special summon it in defense position. Then, if you special summon an Adamancipator monster by this effect, you get to take any level 4 or lower rock monster from your deck and place it on top of your deck, getting the exact monster you want to excavate with your copy of Researcher, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Scatter Fusion. Scatter Fusion is a really awesome 2-of in the deck that has the ability that during your main phase, if your opponent controls a monster, then you can fusion summon 1 non-rock Gym Knight monster from your X deck, using monsters from your deck as material. Also, you cannot special monsters from the X deck for the rest of the turn except Gym Knight monsters, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, and when this card leaves the field, destroy all monsters summoned by this card's effect. This card is really good to be able to put on your side of the field with your copy of Gym Knight Quartz, and is a really good combo piece in the deck to get you an additional monster on the field like Seraphonite to give you an additional normal summon. We then play 3 copies of Gym Knight Fusion. Gym Knight Fusion is an awesome fusion spell that is really cool because it has the ability that you get to send from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard the fusion materials listed on a Gym Knight Fusion monster card. Then you get to special summon 1 Gym Knight Fusion monster from your X deck that you're trying to summon with this card. And this card is also extremely powerful because it has the ability, if this card is in the graveyard, you can banish a Gym Knight monster from your graveyard and add this card back to the hand, being able to fusion summon multiple times per turn, and it's not a once per turn effect. So you can get this card back over and over again to go in for more fusion plays. We then play 3 copies of Black Garden. Black Garden is an insanely powerful field spell in the way that we actually FTK with this deck. This card has the ability that when a monster is normal or special summon, except by the effect of Black Garden, half its attack points, also special summon 1 rose token, plant type dark, level 2, 800 attack, 800 defense to the controller's opponent's side of the field in attack position, which is the main effect that we're going to be using on this card to be able to generate a bunch of tokens on your opponent's side of the field that are special summoned, so you can use the effect of Lady Lapis Lazuli to be able to do a bunch of burn damage, which is why I play this card as a 3-of in the deck. You always want to be able to get to this card in the deck, which is why I play the Researcher to be able to synchro summon into Garden Rose Maiden, and the copies of Terraforming to be able to search out this card. This card is the key combo piece in the deck that you want to see in your opening hand. We then play 3 copies of Unexpected Die. Unexpected Die is a really good 3-of because if you control no monsters, you can special summon a level 4 lower normal monster from the deck, which is an awesome effect to be able to get your normal monster Gym Knight monsters on the field. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Gym Knight Lady Lapis Lazuli. This card is the main boss monster of the deck and is absolutely insane. This card does take a Gym Knight Lapis plus any other Gym Knight monster to summon this card, and it must first be fusion summoned with the above fusion materials, and you can only special summon this card once per turn. And once per turn, you can send a Gym Knight monster from your main or X deck to the graveyard, and if you do, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent for each special summon monster on the field. That is an absolutely insane effect that you can do upwards of 5,000 burn damage to the opponent with this card, and comboed with our copy of Master Diamond that is still currently at 1, you can actually copy the effect of Lady Lapis Lazuli with Gym Knight Master Diamond to do the FTK, which is absolutely insane. And Master Diamond is really easy to summon to the field because it just takes any 3 Gym Knight monsters to be able to summon out this card. And it must be fusion summoned, and it has the ability that this card gains 100 attack for each gym monster in the graveyard, and once per turn you can banish a level 7 or lower Gym Knight Fusion monster from your graveyard until the end phase. This card's name and original effect is the same as the banished monster. So what you do with this deck is you use Black Garden to be able to put a bunch of tokens on the field, burn your opponent once with Lady Lapis Lazuli, and then make a copy of Master Diamond, banish this card from the graveyard, and then you do a second burn because it will copy the effect, which is absolutely insane. I then play a single copy of Lady Brilliant Diamond. Brilliant Diamond is a great one of in the deck. It does take 3 gym monsters just like Master Diamond, but this card has a really unique effect that it must first be fusion summoned with the above fusion materials, and you only special summon this card once per turn. And once per turn, you can send one face-up Gym Knight monster that you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Gym Knight fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is an awesome effect to be able to get an additional monster on the field. And then play 2 copies of Gym Knight Zirconia. This card is a normal monster, but it does have a really awesome thing that you just have to be able to use any Gym Knight monster plus a rock monster to be able to summon this card, which is super easy to summon this card to your field, which is really awesome. Plus it's 2,900 attack points, which is really big. We then play a single copy of Gym Knight Prismora. Prismora is a really good one of the deck. You do have to use Turboline to be able to summon out this card, but it has the ability to once per turn send a Gym Knight card from your hand to the graveyard and then target one face-up card on the field and destroy that target. But that's a really awesome effect because you can send Gym Knight Fusion from your hand to the graveyard, then just banish any Gym Knight from the graveyard to be able to add Gym Knight Fusion back to your hand, which is an awesome effect. So basically, just by banishing a card from the graveyard, you can use this card's effect, which is really nice. And then play a single copy of Gym Knight Lady Rose Diamond. this card is a great one of in the deck. You only really need a single copy of this card, but it's a really good one of that once per turn, the first time a Gym Knight monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. And then during your turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish a Gym Knight card from your graveyard, then target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy that target. The only downside of this card is it takes a Gym Knight monster plus a fairy monster to make this card, so it's not super generic in the deck, but we have plenty of ways to be able to summon out this card. And then play a single copy of Gym Knight Seraphonite. This card just gives you an additional normal summon, which is why I play this card as a one of in the deck to be able to get an additional monster on the field. It does take a Gym Knight monster plus any light monster to be able to make this card, which is super easy to do. And then play 2 copies of Gym Knight Phantom Quartz. This card is a key combo piece in the deck to be able to get a fusion summon, because this card takes 2+ gym monsters to be able to make this card. And if this card is link summon, you can add any Gym Knight card from your deck to your hand, which can be your copy of Gym Knight Fusion, which is really cool. It also has the ability to pay 1,000 life points to be able to fusion summon a Gym Knight Fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling the fusion materials in your possession listed back into the deck. And it has the ability that basically by shuffling the fusion materials in your possession listed into the deck that are banished or in the graveyard, but it can attack directly this turn. That is a really awesome effect to be able to just basically recycle some of your resources to be able to go in for a fusion play. And then play a single copy of Adamancipator Risen Raptite. This card is a really good card to be able to synchro summon into, just to be able to excavate 5 off the top of the deck and get a rock monster onto your side of the field. And with cards like Researcher in the deck, it's super easy to use this card's effect to be able to synchro summon into this monster. We then play a single copy of Garden Rosemaiden. This card searches Black Garden on summon, which is why we play this card as a one-of in this build. And then finally, a single copy of Herald of the Arclight, because we do play a couple of level 2s in the deck with our copies of our Researcher to be able to make this card, which gives us a Walking Negate, which is really nice. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is absolutely insane. It's crazy that Gym Knights can FTK, and I absolutely love this deck. And I really love the new support that we've gotten out of this deck recently. It's super fun to be able to just play this deck, and it's really insane that this deck can FTK. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near the scene, come bar notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.